intro, why don't you give me your name, age, and occupation?
My name is Charlie. I'm 25, and I'm a law student.
So did you recently enter law school? What year are you in?
Just finished up my second year, so I've got 1 year left. So 2 years down, 1 year to go.
2 years down, 1 year to go. How you feeling right now?
I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, this is one way to spend your 2L summer.
Yeah.
Coming out to Fiji, playing Survivor. I actually was very lucky. The firm that I'm basically interning at this summer was very good about letting me have this long, sort of vague leave of absence. So I'm excited, in however long from now, I can finally be like, well, this is what I was doing.
Yeah, I'm always so intrigued by that of like, what are the out of offices? Like, what are the excuses that you give? What was yours?
So I said that I was on a leadership retreat.
I mean,
and I pretty much just left it there.
Technically, it's not too far off, I would say.
Hypothetically, I mean, I don't know if I want to be like, leader in all caps, but, leadership qualities.
Do you have a goal right now for when you graduate, like what you want to study, what you want to go into?
So I don't know for sure. So still figuring it out. This summer, when I get back to work, I'll get to try a lot of different things. So I worked in immigration law before I went to law school, and then this past semester I did my law school's immigration clinic. So I do care a lot about that area of law. I don't know if necessarily it'll be like the sole focus of my career, but it's something that I've definitely worked on a lot, enough that that's pretty much going to be my cover. That's going to be my in-game occupation is going to be an immigration paralegal. So.
Wow. So what brings you out to this leadership conference, quote unquote? What brought you out into Survivor?
Man, so I found Survivor. Should I be looking at you, by the way?
You can look at whatever's comfortable.
Okay. So I found Survivor in the pandemic.
Okay.
So my first season that I ever watched was Winners at War, which
spoiler alert.
Yeah, terrible idea for someone who ended up absolutely loving Survivor and mowing through the rest of the season. So it's like, oh, that's Sandra's first win. That's Sandra's second win. Actually, that was one of the better ones because, at least there's a 50-50.
Yeah, but what's so interesting, I would imagine, that you unintentionally did for your future Survivor career is like, you knew people were winning ahead of time, and you got to sort of map through the process as to how they got there.
Right, yeah. You can sort of dissect things a little bit more, be a little bit more analytical, because from day one, it's like a huge fan of the show. I loved watching it, but I was like, I want to play this thing. Like, I remember like a couple episodes into Winners at War, I filmed some absolutely abysmal audition video in my basement, like at 3 a.m. with my cat, and I was, sent it off, and then years later, I was like, wow, that was really, really bad. But ended up here, kept auditioning, and here I am. So I'm just so excited. Love the show. Love the community. Been to, started going to watch parties, when Survivor came back. And, so I went to the first one during 43, Bryson went event, and then another one in 44. And just that, took my love of the show to a new level, right? It's just the fans are amazing. It's just such good energy and, just people loving Survivor.
And now you're a part of it. Now there's going to be a Bryson Wen event, and it's going to be people looking up at you on the screen.
I know, which is literally what I've been doing the past, 2 seasons. So it's so cool. I feel like it's almost like giving back. It's I've been absorbing all this entertainment over the years, and then hopefully it's I give a little back to the people, give them something to cheer for or against.
Now let's see, it's not completely altruistic though. You are here for the million at the end of the day too.
Oh, at the end of the day, it's people ask you, it's would you rather the title of Sole Survivor or the $1 million? And it's well, luckily you get both of them. So it's and then it's even if I was to say, the title, it's I have a lot of student loans that are really excited about the $1 million. So, yeah.
So, given your history with Survivor, give me one winner, one non-winner you identify with the most.
Okay. Winner that I identify with the most, I would say Natalie Anderson, winner I identify with the most. Just at least identify with, I'm also look up to.
Yeah.
I feel it's flattering myself a little too much to say identify with her, but just her drive, great mind for the game, competitive, loyal to her allies. I love season 29, that's sort of her revenge arc.
Yeah.
I really love that. So that's one winner. And then Non-winner, I'm going to say Christian Hubicki.
Okay.
Just so likable. Like,
Yeah.
if I can muster an ounce of that likability, like, I feel like I'll be okay. And just fun to watch. Great at sort of distilling the game. I think that's a really underrated skill.
Yeah.
If I could do that, like, that would be great too. Again, these are like huge shoes to fill. So, or potentially fill. But yeah, those are some of my favorites.
What's one life experience you feel has most prepared you for whatever you're about to get into?
So I think being a distance runner. So I've been a lifelong distance runner, and I've thought about this, and here's why. So runners are all a little weird, a little crazy. It's like, what do you like to do for fun? Oh, I go on runs, like, and it's kind of the same as Survivor. It's like, I love Survivor. I'm going to come play Survivor. Oh, what does that mean? Oh, I'm going to starve on an island and,
Doesn't work well on paper.
Yeah, be, laid bare, and you got to be a little kooky, a little crazy to want to try something like that. So, and then just sort of being comfortable with discomfort. Like, that's really what running is to succeed in running, you have to, get in the zone where you're just in so much pain and then just keep going. So, that's what I think. So
now, obviously, like, the direct comparison and the reason why you're kind of obfuscating your job is like the idea of pitching or being able to sell yourself or a client to a jury. Do you feel like, though, as someone who's within the field of law, like, is that applicable to something like Survivor?
So it's a good question, and I agree with you. But ultimately, the main reason why I'm gonna not really mention that I'm a law student is I just don't think it can help me.
Yeah.
I don't see it as anything helping me. And going just the small step down to paralegal, it's not like I'm stretching my world so far. It's not, I'm not a personal trainer or something like that. But definitely see what you're saying too, where I do think that, sort of having that type of mind where you're thinking about almost building a story is really what I think about. Like, well, that's what a good lawyer does is tell a story. And I think we've seen in the past couple seasons, the winners tell really good stories.
Absolutely.
At Final Tribals, it's like, that's how they win the game. It's like, even if you're looking at their game from, I hate to use the word objective, because what is objective?
It's an edited show. Yeah, I agree with you.
But it's even just like, there's no set criteria that you can check off to win. Like, there's no objective way to win Survivor. But it's like, they can get to the end and come up with something to explain and have it make sense why they should win. And I think that's a really underrated skill, because if you can just get to the end and then sit there on the last day before Final Tribal and be like, here's a story I can craft.
Yeah.
Whether or not I was thinking about it before as I was playing the game, doesn't really matter. The jury buys it.
Do you have a strategy for tribal council in particular? Because, as of late, people have been very good about, like, trying to obscure things, and you come from a background where it is all about, like, anything you can say and will say will be used against you in a court of law. So do you have any tactics for, like, to that point, surviving the burning, the grilling of Jeff Probst?
I mean, it's going to be tough, right? I mean, and part of it is I have no idea what to expect. Yeah. So I definitely want to get my feel for tribal and, make sure it doesn't bring about the end of my game. But I think, and I hope, I have no idea, but I hope I can use tribal as sort of a weapon as well. I think in the right moments, at the right times, you can sort of get people a little flustered and, maybe in a way that they wouldn't have expected, turn something around, question Jeff asks you, pin it on someone else, take someone's random analogy or, obfuscating answer and, say, oh, who are you talking about right now?
Yeah.
Like when you said someone's driving the bus. It's like, name them. Name who you think in charge, just finding moments where if your back's against the wall, trying to turn up the heat a little bit.
What do you think is your biggest superpower?
Biggest superpower? Probably my ability to name Taylor Swift songs within the first few seconds of them playing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you were going for something in-game, but
it could be either or.
That's probably just
A
overall.
challenge could be named that too, and it could be a crossover with Fox, and you'd just be...
That would be incredible. I mean, as long as it's Taylor Swift. I mean,
Yeah.
I've used up a lot of memory space on her songs, so anything else, I don't know.
Yeah, listen, I may not remember the names of your kids, but if you hum 3 notes, I can tell you if it's Shake It Off.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, on the other hand, what's your kryptonite, either musically based or otherwise?
Oh man, my kryptonite. I'm thinking well, musically, gosh, I don't know, probably like I don't know, anything old.
Mm-hmm.
But then in game, I feel like my kryptonite will be if I get too enchanted by, one alliance partner.
Huh.
So I think what I want to do is, find someone I can really trust, but there's a lot of savvy people out there, and I might trust them wholeheartedly and be telling them all sorts of things. I like to think that I would know that they trust me and tell me all sorts of things in return, but I could get fooled. I think that's the thing people don't realize is like, there's going to be a fooler and a foolee every time, and it could be me. It absolutely could be me. So that's what I'm worried about.
Are you looking for any specific qualities in a number 1?
So yeah, I think I want someone who's, I consider like a good social strategic player, someone who I can bounce ideas off of. Ideally, I have, a really solid alliance that I take and go with far into the game. But the flip side is all those players are going to be big threats
right
at the same time. And so I'm sort of thinking about it in that way, but definitely early in the game, I want someone who's going to be, who I can trust to, handle all the craziness of the game and work with me and sort of help spitball ideas and just have fun with it as well. Yeah.
I mean, we've seen that in the case of Cody and Jesse, most recently a bit with like Carolyn and Jam Jam. Are you not afraid to try to make that move at the end of the game? How emotionally difficult do you think it's going to be?
I think it's so hard to say because I feel like as fans, we're watching at home. It's so clear. Vote them out then, or do this at that moment. And that doesn't take into account like this crazy bond you build in such a short amount of time.
Totally.
So I'm trying not to tell myself that I would easily cut the person that I had been working with the whole game. I think I could do it, but I think it would be really hard. I really think it's going to be hard.
So what do you think people are going to perceive you as, faulty occupation or otherwise?
Oh, man. I think people will probably get a read on me that I'm like at least like somewhat like book smart sounding at least. I mean, I don't like totally try to be, that way. I don't think I usually sound that way. But also I'm usually around like a lot of law students. So it's tough to say what people are going to think of me. They might hear me talk and be like, wow, this kid's a law student, and it's like, okay, there goes my lie. So I'm just cognizant of people, being, because I don't think like necessarily being book smart is like the exact type of survivor smart that is the most threatening.
Right.
But people will use it no matter what. So I think that, that's a big one for sure. Just maybe also just like kind of like the young hot shot, like, people, I hope not, but I hope people might think I'm like arrogant or cocky. I am competitive, so I hope like it doesn't come off in a sort of cocky way. But yeah, those are probably the couple things that I would think people would say.
Now let's switch some perceptions here. Obviously, you've been around for a few days. You're making eyes at people. Is there anyone you're picking up like particularly good vibes from, even in these early days where you can't talk?
Yeah, I mean, so many. I mean, it's so many people are just giving off really fun and magnetic energy is what I would say. It's like, even though people can't talk, it's like you can feel the charisma, especially from certain people. It's like they just ooze it. It's like,
give me some examples. Who's sticking out here?
It's hard. Obviously, I don't know names. So there's this one kind of taller, he looks almost Norwegian to me. He's like Scandinavian, like a kind of like a Viking. And he's just got like a big presence. Like when he walks in the room, big smile, pretty like athletic, imposing guy, like arms twice the size of mine. So he's one. There's this one woman. She's a black woman with braids and she has some tattoos on her legs, and she's just such good energy and good vibes, and just, I don't know, just like a beautiful soul. But then it's like, at the same time, it's like, I can see, I see her doing like little puzzle books. Like, I know she's very smart, and she's probably got an incredible mind for the game. And it's like a lot of dangerous players out here.
So then on the other hand, is there anyone you're picking up not so good vibes from? Either from a danger perspective or a like, I don't know if we'd see eye to eye on the beach type of thing.
Gosh, I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm really trying to tell myself, don't let one of your impressions early on get in the way of you making an alliance.
Makes sense.
I'm trying not to let those run too far. Because it's like, oh, someone didn't pass me a fork, when we were in the dinner line. It's like, I'm not going to like be like, you're first out,
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see when the game starts, more who I click with and who I don't.
What's been your level of preparation for this? What exactly has been the process for you? Because you've also been pursuing an education on top of preparing for Survivor.
Yeah, I mean, this past year has been quite the roller coaster. So I think I started the casting process in October, was like my first contact, if you're a Star Trek fan.
Oh, yeah. I have a hat with the Starfleet
Oh,
logo
amazing.
on it, so
yeah.
That was when you met Zephram Cochrane and you live long and prosper.
Yeah, exactly. So that was when it all started, and then it's just sort of been trying to get through that, and then you finally get the call that you're on. And it's like, wow, like this is very real.
Yeah.
It's not just this sort of weird fantasy I've had. I'm gonna actually be on Fiji, surviving in a jungle, playing this insane game. And so I mean, a lot of Survivor podcasts. I think I was probably on like 10 hours a week, which, as you point out, was quite a bit in addition to schoolwork.
Yeah.
So a lot of podcasts, sort of taking notes on things, like little strategy ideas that sort of come into my brain. I have a little notes app in my phone. After watching Carson, I ordered a bunch of puzzles off Etsy. I don't have any brains to do like 3D printing. Wouldn't even know where to start. But I was like, okay, I'll get like, I don't know, maybe like 6 or 8 puzzles. Okay, if one of those comes up, I can do it. That's about my max there. And then just like staying fit. I run a lot.
Right.
But I didn't want to do anything too drastic because I didn't want my body to have crazy whiplash. I didn't want to, put on, again, not like, I didn't want to put on like 30 pounds like Carson. I put on a little bit of weight that'll get burned off in a second. But just other than that, just sleeping, trying to take it all in. Get my Zen on.
Yeah.
I did get a little balance block to work on my balance. Yeah. So a little bit of that. We'll see if it pays off. But.
Well, let's test this balance for a second. Let's say first few days.
Yeah.
You're on the beach.
Yeah.
Boat pulls up.
Okay.
You know what's happening. A guy steps off, says, "What if you must go on a journey?" Are you stepping up? Are you trying to get someone else to go? What's your tactic here?
Oh, man. That's really hard. Honestly, part of me is like the cop-out. It's like, oh, we'll just do random. And if I go, and I'm going to make the most of it. I do think you have to do one of either two things in the new era. You either have to have an advantage or know exactly where the advantage is and be close to the person who has it.
Yeah.
So I want to be in one of those positions. So it's either me going on the journey or an ally. But then the other thing is 44 kind of opened the door where it's like they did a journey where it was just food. And I was like, thank God, because now hopefully I can come back and be like, oh yeah, we just had, some BLT wraps and chatted for a bit. And then hopefully there's no Carolyn that wants to smell my breath, and hopefully I'd be okay. But so I mean, we'll see. I would go on a journey. I don't know if I'm going to do a Lauren and rig the rock draw, but I'd go for it. I wouldn't be, upset having an advantage in my pocket.
I mean, to your credit, how hungry are you going to be for hunting for these? Is this something you're going to actively be searching for? Or are you going to more so be in that second camp of like, I want to know more about people who have them than actually have them myself?
I feel like I've got one foot in both camps, and then you got to kind of see what the tenor on the beach is.
Right.
I don't think I'm going to be someone who's day one looking for an idol. I think still, even now, that is a pretty bad idea. But I think as long as you are in one of those positions, either you have something and you keep your freaking mouth shut about it, or you have an ally who's told you about what they have. Either one. Like I'm envisioning if I was walking through the jungle and I see a beware advantage, right? I would be weighing two options. I'm either going to take it myself and figure out how the hell to get it without losing my vote. Or I'm going to take someone, ally or not, and I'm going to try to get them to find it.
Yeah.
And then, who knows, maybe I want them to not have a vote. Maybe I won't give them a bead, or tell someone else not to give them a bead. Something like that. So that's sort of my thoughts when I find an advantage. Yeah.
What is one decision in Survivor history that had you like standing up saying, how could you do this? Why did you not see this other option?
Okay. This is tough. I mean, sorry to Eric Reichenbach. It's like, that's probably where everyone's mind goes. It's like giving up immunity. But I love Eric. Eric was a cross-country runner himself.
Yeah.
He has a special place.
He wore those shorts on the island.
He wore the freaking split shorts. I loved it. So I actually really like Eric. I think he has a great social game. I think he's just, and I actually put that, I think I wrote that somewhere in some of my materials. But another one, though, let's see. I'll try to think of one from the new era. Oh, I know. I don't know if this is so much of a jumped out of my seat, but sort of compiled together over the course of the season. I wish Xander did something with his idol. And I'm sure Xander probably thinks that too, so I don't need to lay into him. Also a cross-country runner. I didn't mean to pick all the cross-country runners.
You're seeing yourself in a lot of people.
Yeah. But yeah, I think probably Xander thinks that in hindsight too, is like if he could play it again, he would get something going with that idol or otherwise. So yeah, that's something that comes to mind.
What is your hottest Survivor take, in your opinion?
My hottest Survivor take, and maybe I'm jaded because I sort of became a fan. My first couple live seasons were basically the new era.
Right.
But I really have no qualms with the advantages or twists. Like, throw them my way. I'll see what I can do with them. I just love thinking about, like, what would I have done in that situation? And, now people will be telling me that I'm an idiot with my idol or my immunity necklace.
Now you're the cross-country runner that's going to get
Exactly.
chastised.
And you know what? Xander and Eric, both of you, I feel like both of you pile it on, please. I mean, I deserve it at this point. So that's probably my hottest Survivor take. I feel like that's of the moment as well. That's in the discourse, so.
All right, to finish things off.
Yeah.
Give me a celebrity or a fictional character that you would want to bring out for a loved one's visit.
This is the easiest question I'll ever be asked. It's Taylor Swift. 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100 times, 13 out of 13 times, maybe more apt. My gosh, I would die. I would simply die. I mean, that would be the downside, is like that would happen. I would have to exit the game. I'd probably have a heart attack. Yeah. I mean, that what an episode, right? Taylor Swift shows up to Survivor.
Yeah.
I have a heart attack on the spot. Dr. Will is explaining, well, what happened here is Charlie's seen this celebrity that he's very obsessed with, and he's died on the spot. And so that's where we are now.
Yeah. I mean, the good news is $1 million can buy a lot of Eras tickets, so.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like 2 or 3, yeah.
That's still a lot by comparison.
Seriously, yeah.
How are you feeling right now? We're still in the mixing phase before things actually get poured out, but like, what's the cocktail of emotions at the moment?
Oh, man, it's probably like the grossest college jungle juice that's ever existed. It's like somebody poured in like vodka, tequila, Red Bull, Jägermeister, every single liquor they could find. It's all swirling in my stomach. And either I'm going to, make it through the night, or I'm just going to vomit. And who knows which one people want to see. But everything. Excited, scared, just so grateful, just so amazing. Just really, really happy to be here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that you're here as well. This was a delight. This was an absolute delight. And
I'm glad. It was so nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you, too. I'm so excited to see, what's to come. I know you still have some time left in the hopper, but like once it actually happens, I'm excited for the race to start, in a manner of speaking.
Exactly. Off to the races.
All right, you are done, my man. So nice meeting you again.
Nice to meet you too, Mike.
Enjoy the rest of your time here, and I'll see you out there.
I will, yeah. And I think this is your first time back in person, right?
Yes.